Syracuse, in addition to head coach Quentin Hillsman, will have student athletes Alexis Peterson, Cornelia Fondren, and Brianna Butler. Format for the conference will be the same as after Friday's game, with opening statement from each coach, followed by questions for the student athletes. We'll then excuse them from the dais and continue with additional questions for each head coach. Tennessee has left the locker room and will be on the dais momentarily. Their locker room is open and will be open until approximately 5:20. We're being joined on the dais by the University of Tennessee student athletes Jamie Nard, Diamond DeShields, along with head coach Holly Warlick. Once again, we're going to start with an opening statement from Coach Warlick, followed by questions for the student athletes. Coach?
Absolutely. Congratulations to Syracuse. They were outstanding today. They just played tough. We got ourselves in the hole and we couldn't get out of it, and had a lot to do with Syracuse's performance.
Let's take questions, please, for the student athletes. Again, we'll get a microphone to you. Name and affiliation, please. Let's start in the front with John.
John Adams, Knoxville News Sentinel. Diamond, you guys did a really good job against Kelsey Mitchell of Ohio State, considered one of the best players in the country. But it looked like Alexis Peterson posed more problems today. Could you just talk a little bit about the versatile game she has?
Our defense just wasn't as crisp as it was against Ohio State. We weren't talking as much. We weren't as connected, and I think that allowed Alexis Peterson to get into a lot of the gaps or find her spots. But yeah, it wasn't our day, and I mean, clearly it was theirs. So, I mean, congrats to them.
We have a question in the back on the left here.
Yeah, if one or both the players could just address the defense that Syracuse was playing, it looked like it was causing some problems, especially the second half.
Jamie, do you want to start with that one, please?
They're playing a pack 2-3, keying in on our posts, Bashar and Mercedes, because they're such great players, and it forced the guards to shoot more shots, and I think that we didn't get it in as much as we should have, or we were kind of stagnant in our offense. Their defense made us a little bit more stagnant, and we just got to get better at that, I guess.
Other questions for student athletes? We'll take one here in the third row.
Diamond, you guys were able to, I mean, it was a long time ago, back in November, you did get the ball into the interior and outscored them pretty significantly in the paint. What was the difference today? And I know you had a guard out today that hurt, but what was the big difference in not being able to get the points in the paint that you did before against them?
Well, like Jamie said, we were pretty stagnant in our offense. I feel like had the guards cut a little bit more, it could have opened up, made the post a little more available. We took 22 three-pointers, which isn't something that we do. That's kind of way more than what we've been shooting. So I think a combination of the two things really hurt us down the stretch. And, we should be able to get the ball into the post, but they packed it in so much, it just was hard.
Other questions for the student athletes? Take one here from John.
John Adams, Knoxville News Sentinel. Diamond, although you guys came one short of the Final Four, one game short, do you leave the season in a positive fashion because of how much better you played in the last part of the season?
That was for Diamond, correct? Yeah.
No. We're all pretty disappointed. I mean, as much as we want to be proud of, how far we've came based on the season we had, we could go far. We could have gone farther, and we know that, and I think that's what hurts the most. So, our season got cut short, we all feel like, and so we're not happy about that. Never happy about losing, and we never will be. So this is a program full of winners. Winning is what we do, so that's always going to be the goal.
Other questions for the student athletes? Looks like that's it. Okay, ladies, thank you very much for your time. We'll excuse you back to the locker room. And we'll go ahead and continue with questions for Coach. We'll take it in the back here first. and then we'll go third row and second row.
Yeah, Holly, Eric Olson with the Associated Press. Kind of what John was just asking. Diamond, I mean, can you take away something? I know it's kind of raw at this point, but can you take away something positive with this run you guys got on here at the end?
Oh, absolutely. I think I understand where Diamond's coming from. There's only going to be one team that's happy at the end, and if you're not disappointed and sad, then you're not a competitor. So I think that I understand her point, but to take it a step farther, yeah, I see how far this team has come, how far they've progressed since we first started, since through the month of January, and you can't do anything but learn from it. I mean, for us to be in this situation and had 13 losses is a credit to them and their commitment to turn our season around and play with each other. So, you know, it's kind of a bittersweet for me. I'm proud of how we came back, but obviously disappointed in the outcome today.
I'll take a question from Michelle here first.
Holly, not to have an excuse, but with having Jordan not out there, it just seemed like
Yeah.
you kept looking for answers,
Yeah.
Rotating a lot of guards in, and this is almost maybe as tough a team as you can play when you don't have an answer.
Well, I thought we missed Jordan's leadership. She's been in these situations before. All fairness to Taya, she's not done this. And then Andrea has her finger's broken. Bashar's finger's broken. So Drea couldn't dribble with her left hand, and Bashar had a hard time catching the ball. So as we won against Ohio State, we had 3 pretty not so great injuries for us. But you got to have kids step up. It's just kind of been our MO and what we've had to deal with. We've dealt with injuries, and it's a part of the game. It just seems like it's more part of the game for us than anybody else. But we had to have kids step up, and you injured or hurt, you don't need to allow a team to get off 14 threes. So. But yeah, I think we missed Jordan's leadership. I do, but we're not gonna play her when she has a concussion. So it just worked out that way.
Do we have a question here in the second row? Then we'll get to you, John.
Rob Harvey, Daily Beacon. Turnovers seem to be a big factor as your
Yeah.
team turned the ball 21 times.
Yep.
What do you feel like Syracuse was doing that was frustrating your team to cause all these?
Well, I think they're making us play fast, and I think we've handled, for the most part, pressure in the past. But you look at, Taya had 5, Diamond had 5, James. You just go down the list, and I think it goes back to what we just said. We didn't have anybody to kind of calm us down, so we try to dribble through it, and then we would get turnovers, and they made us play fast and turned it over.
John.
John Adams, Knoxville News Sentinel. Holly, when you came into this regional, Tennessee, because of its great tradition, South Carolina, a #1 seed, and then
Yeah.
Ohio State with all the offensive firepower, really seemed like Syracuse was kind of underrated coming in here because you watched them play, and that really looks like a great team. Did you feel like it was just an outstanding team?
Absolutely. I think they, when they shoot the ball the way they are, and their ability to move their zone around the way they can, they're well deserving of being of where they're going to the Final Four. I don't. We've had a lot of respect for Syracuse. I've watched them quite a bit. I watched them in the ACC tournament. I've just watched them throughout the year, and I thought there were 4 solid teams here, and I thought it was going to be a very difficult region, which it was. But give Syracuse credit; they knocked off the #1 seeded team, and Hey, it wasn't an upset tonight. We were seeded 7 and they were seeded 4, so they should have beat us tonight. That's how the rankings were. So,
Michelle, third row.
Holly, to sort of follow up on that, we have 2 first-timers now
Yeah.
with Washington and with Syracuse, and they're going to be in the same half of the bracket. With all the attention that's given to UConn and the dominance, is this another storyline you think that should maybe get a lot of attention?
well, I think so. I mean, look what they did. They knocked off, everybody. This is going to be the 4 teams in the Final Four, and 2 of them aren't going. So absolutely, it's a storyline. They knocked off people who were supposed to be there. Already had footage. ESPN already had footage. They got ESPN's going to have to scramble a little bit. So, I mean, I don't care what you do. You knock off another number 1 team, you're doing something right. So my hat's off to them. I mean, they had to battle, and sometimes you beat a number 1 team and then you come back flat. Both those teams did not come back flat. They were on a mission.
Question down the front.
John Adams, Knoxville News Sentinel. Holly, it looked as though you were switching defenses.
Yeah.
Syracuse's versatility, it just seemed like they had an answer for zone or man. And would you comment on Fondren's play coming off the bench, number 11, Cornelia Fondren? It looked like she was a real factor in that second quarter spurt because of her ability to get to the basket.
Yeah, when you're getting your butt beat, you try every defense you got. So we tried everything we could do. You can't give up 14 threes. I mean, you just can't do that, and we did. And, Fondren had it, but she attacked us, and obviously when you're concerned with Butler and Peterson, then you open it up a little bit, and she drove it to the basket and did a great job. So, we weren't on our A game on our defensive end, and they took total advantage of it. And their guards outscored us. I mean, you can just go down the line and look at, we had 21 turnovers. You're not going to win too many games. You turn it over 21 times and you give up 14 threes.
We have time for a couple more questions for Coach. Are there any others out there? We'll take one here in the third row.
Can you sort of put in perspective, Peterson to have the 2 games back-to-back that she did against 2 very good SEC teams? What in particular is it? The speed, the fearlessness? She just seems to be able to get to the basket against almost anybody.
Yeah, I think she's outstanding to get to the basket. She's not only has she got great speed, she has a great hesitation, and so it's difficult to guard when she also can shoot the 3. And those type players they're special, and I think she's a special kid, and she's competing, and it's her time to shine. And she stepped up, and she's made things happen, and she ran her basketball team, and she kind of put them on their back and said, we're not going to be defeated. And she just did. Not only did she play offensively, I mean, she had 3 steals. I mean, I just thought she had a complete game today. And she also played 38 minutes, and she's had a fantastic game and ran her basketball team. Don't forget that. She scored and did those things along with running her basketball team. That's pretty special.
One more question for Coach. Looks like none, Coach.
Let me say this, that the people here in Sioux Falls have been absolutely fantastic, and we appreciate it so much. Class act, great host of a region, and just appreciate all your hospitality. So thank you.
Coach, thank you. It's been a pleasure having you in your program here. One more time, the 2016 Sioux Falls Regional All-Tournament team, if you didn't get it. From Syracuse, Brianna Butler. South Carolina, Elena Coates. From Tennessee, Diamond DeShields. From Syracuse, Cornelia Fondren. From Tennessee, Mercedes Russell. And the most outstanding player of the Sioux Falls Regional is Alexis Peterson. Syracuse University has left the locker room. We'll be here momentarily. Their locker room is now open. We're being joined on the dais now by Syracuse University and student athletes from the far end, Cornelia Fondren, Brianna Butler, Alexis Peterson, along with head coach Quentin Hilsman. Again, we're going to start with an opening statement from Coach and then take questions for the student athletes. Coach?
Wow. Just an amazing game for our kids. We just had a game plan again, and our kids really did a very good job of just following what we needed to do. Just a very, very talented and tough Tennessee team. And you go from game to game in this tournament, you really figure out, you know, how good women's basketball is and how great the coaches are and the schemes that they employ to beat you. And you know, we just did what we had to do. We knew we had to control the paint, and we did a very good job of that. And we knew we had to make threes, and to be 14 for 30 here in the arc and just really knock down shots and really to extend them and make them come guard us was the key of the game. But man, you just gotta give Holly so much credit because she just really stuck to what she does, and they really try to throw the ball inside. And there was a spurt where they made 2 or 3 threes in a row and came down to like it was last game where we had to make a decision. We're going to come out or stay in. So I had to go to my inner Bayheim and, and stay in the zone and not panic. And that's what we did. We stayed into our zone and didn't panic. But, man, I can't say enough about our team and our players just collectively as a group because they believe in. And I just try to keep telling them to just to believe and let's stay together, let's be a team, and let's just do what we do. That's press and shoot threes. And it's going to be enough. If it's not enough, we'll get our sandwiches and we'll go home. But I can tell you, they're just some tough kids. And in tournament time, it comes down to just the toughness and hard work and having a great attitude, and they did it.
We'll take questions from the media, and we'll start down here. Get you a microphone. Name and affiliation, please.
Hi, Lindsay Kramer, Post Standard. Brianna, congratulations, everybody. They knew you were going to shoot a lot of threes. There was no secret. They played tough men in general. How'd you guys get off so many threes against a team that knew you were going to take them and designed to stop them?
We're just a real big three-point shooting team. You know, Coach is always giving us confidence to shoot the three and influencing us to shoot them. And it's something that we've been able to do the whole season. And we've faced a lot of different types of defenses, so it wasn't anything too much different for us. But Tennessee did a great job of making it difficult for us.
We got another question for the student athletes down here in front.
John Adams, Knoxville News Sentinel. You guys are talking about the three-point shooting, but would Cornelia and Alexis also address the way you guys were able to go to the basket? I mean, you just drove right out in the lane and didn't seem to be intimidated by Tennessee's size and going to the basket. Could you talk about that?
Cornelia, can you start, please?
Yes. I just was in attack mode, take advantage of the size matchup, and I had Bashara Graves. I mean, she's a really good player, good defender. She's much bigger than me, but I just wanted to attack her and get to the basket. I just felt like no one could stop me if I try to go to the basket. But, you know, Coach Q really, he really trusts me to get to the basket, and, you know, he tell me to go left all the time, don't go right, and I did that today, and I was successful.
Yeah, just kind of going off what Cornelia said, we just want to take advantage of the defense, and, you know, we knew they would kind of switch out and we would have a 1-5 matchup. So, you know, we just wanted to take advantage of, you know, their switching and play aggressively at the rim. We didn't want to be passive and settle for jump shots when we knew we would have the matchup that we wanted out in the perimeter.
Let's take one here in the third row, and then we'll come over to the right side.
This is for Brianna Butler. They had cut the lead. I think Taya Cooper hit a three very early in the fourth quarter, and then you came and hit those 2 threes back to back, and they never got closer than 10 after that. Can you just talk about your mentality of being confident? I think this was your season high today with the number of three-pointers you hit.
I really just have to give the credit to my teammates and my coaches. You know, without their confidence or without them setting me up or finding me, I really wouldn't be able to hit those shots that I've been able to. And you know, they helped us take the lead and take away Tennessee's chance of coming back, and it was just a great experience.
We got a question in the second row first, and then we'll come down in front.
Paul Schwelson from the Daily Orange for Alexis. At the end of the first quarter, you kind of stumbled and fell down, and I guess maybe what happened and what was going through your mind, and maybe what were you feeling?
Well, I drove to the basket, got knocked down and fell on my hip. But, I had looked at my team and they just said, you got to suck it up. You got to play tough because we need you. And, it's 40 minutes. And if I have to play through, being hurt or being injured, that's what I was going to do. And, I didn't want to let them down. So at that point, it was just a will of a matter of, overcoming everything that I was being faced with.
We have a question in the front row.
Hi, Lindsey Kramer from the Post-Standard. Alexis, what do you remember as fourth game of the year? What do you remember about Washington? Because now you're getting them again.
Well, I remember that they're a good team. Obviously they have great players, Kelsey Plum, Talia Walton, Osafor. They have a lot of size. They can really shoot the ball. And, they're a great team. And, we're just going to have to come out and be ready to compete again for 40 minutes.
Let's take one here first, and then we'll come over there.
John Adams, Knoxville News Sentinel. Alexis, just how much was that hip bothering you after the end of the first quarter when you fell? Was it bothering you the rest of the game?
Yeah, it was something that was definitely sore. But, Coach Q just told me, everybody's banged up. So if you can go, then go. If you can't, sit down. And, this time of year, you just have to give it all you have. And, it bothered me for the rest of the game. But, I couldn't think about it. I'd rather win and be advancing than, worry about a minor injury.
We have a question in the third row on the right side.
Andrew Scaglione, WJPZ Radio, for all three of you, but starting with Cornelia. When you climbed the ladder and cut down the net, was it anything like you ever imagined?
It's a different experience. I can definitely tell you that. Never been in a championship a day in my life. Never been this far to even cut down nets, but it feels great, being here. Coach Q really prepped us for this moment. All the big fives we ran preseason, we managed to get through it. He really has so much faith in us as a team, and he tells us every day that he's proud of us, and we're just proud to have him as a coach.
Brianna, do you want to take that next?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to what Corn was talking about. I really never had the opportunity to cut down nets, and Coach the whole tournament was telling us how great of a feeling it is, and it kind of really lived up to that expectation of what he had told us.
Yeah, kind of going off what these two said, to be able to do this at this level is something that is, something you can never forget, and you can't really put the words, in order because, we're so fortunate, we're so blessed to be here, to be, 4 teams standing, and, to walk up that ladder, you just think about everything you went through to get here, and, it's a great feeling.
Question over here on the right.
Just to follow up on what Alexis was saying about how she felt that she couldn't let anybody down, just push through it. Looking at the 4 tournament games you've played so far, the one thing that stands out is just the ability to get it done, and particularly to be tough. Cornelia and Brianna, I'm just curious, you don't get to this level without being tough. Where does that come from, that sort of elite level toughness?
You just got to have that heart. Coach Q talks about it all the time. We have to be tough as a team and as individuals, and we got to have the heart to even win, to even want to play this game. And I feel like we came out with a bunch of pride and so much courage and just wanted to play today, and it just feels good to even just to be here.
I really think that our toughness, stems down from Coach Q. He's always talking about having that heart, like Corn said, and, our toughness really determines our destiny, and so far our toughness has gotten us here.
Question down here in front.
John Adams, Knoxville News Sentinel. Cornelia, do you think you became a better team, as good as you've been, just by beating South Carolina? Because that's a team that's been right at the top of the country all season long. Did you come away from that game feeling even better about yourself as a team?
I think coming into the season, I feel good as a team. We had a couple downfalls when we lost a couple games, but that didn't matter. Once we got into tournament time, it was either win or go home, and we're not ready to go home. So, we just taking it game by game, remaining humble, and finishing it out.
We've got time for 1 or 2 more questions for the student athletes. Let's take one over here on the right side.
Brianna, there was a point, I think you made it 76-61 with a 3, and you cracked a smile after you hit that 3. I guess what was kind of going through your mind, because you're usually, just so straight-faced?
It was just a great feeling, going up against a great team and, taking that huge lead and, For me, it was almost an unbelievable experience to know that we had a chance to advance to the Final Four.
Time for one more. Any other questions for the student athletes? We'll take one in the back here. Take one more.
Eric Olson with the Associated Press. Alexis, end of the game, buzzer goes off, you go run to midcourt, drop to your knees. I guess at that point, what's going through the mind?
I was just thinking about how good God is, and how far He's brought my team and everything, my coaches, and it was just an unbelievable experience. And we just can't thank Him enough. Like, the favor that this team has is unreal, and it was a great feeling. And my team, our coaches, our trainers, we have all worked relentlessly, and to get to this point, I was just overcome with emotion.
Thank you, ladies. Congratulations. We'll excuse you back to the locker room, and best of luck next week.
Thank you.
And we'll go ahead and continue with questions for Coach Hilsman. We'll start right down here on the right side.
Hey, Coach. Lindsey Kramer from the Post-Standard in Syracuse. Could you further break down how, against a defense that knew you were going to take a lot of threes and was geared to doing that, how you got off so many and so many good looks?
Well, it was a number of things. We had a pretty good feel on their defensive calls. They had 2 or 3 calls that we knew that when they called a certain call, we knew what they were going to be in, so we were able to get into an offense to kind of combat the defense. And I thought that we had some opportunities to where they were switching a lot of screens, and it's tough to switch multiple screens. So we started setting some rip screens and some flares, and we started to sprint some of the screens. And it's tough to switch screens when you don't know where they're coming from and who's setting them and who's going to slip and who's going to flare. So we just kind of took advantage of some of the stuff that we knew we would get from their calls. But Vaughn Reed is amazing, and he had every call down. And I remember before I went to bed, I wrote him on this little piece of paper. I just put him by the side of the bed, and obviously you don't sleep much. And I rolled over every 20 minutes and said 5 is switch, 0 is just remembered them, and just knew that when they called the defense, knew what package we need to get into, and just amazing game prep by Vaughn and getting their signals.
Question down in front here first, and then we'll come over.
John Adams, Knoxville News Sentinel. Coach, at the end of the first quarter, when Alexis came off the court and she looked like she was hurt, what was going through your head then? Were you scared, oh my God, this could be serious, or what were you thinking at that point?
Well, we've had some, she missed 2 games this year, and we won both of those games, but obviously not to this magnitude. And as a freshman, Cornelia Fondren was our starting point guard. So we have a lot of depth on this team, and obviously you don't want to play the game without her. Looking at the stat sheet, obviously, but I just knew that the way she fell, and I knew this was probably just something minor. But at that point, what do? You're here playing for the Final Four. Do you find a way to get it done, or do you lay out and say it's over? And those kids just found a way to get it done.
Question over here on the right side, second row.
Q, were you expecting the Gatorade bath at all? And I guess what was kind of going through your mind?
Actually, I told Tammy to tell him don't get me because I had to come to a press conference and I had to bring any more clothes. But I guess they didn't listen and it didn't work. And I knew when they backed up, I'm like, either I'm going to run or take it. So, but it's a great feeling. These kids work so hard, and it's just a great feeling, and they deserve to have all the fun they want right now because they're just some hard workers, and I don't take credit. I don't get confused about it. I don't think it's my scheme. I don't think it's them, because once they start playing hard for you, and once they had enough, and they lay down on you, you're done. And they never done that, and they just continue to fight, and continue to play hard, and continue to let me push them and to get to this level. So I'm very grateful for them.
Front row.
Hello, Lindsey Kramer again from Syracuse. Much like Tennessee, Washington was a long time ago. What do you remember about that game that you might be able to use on Sunday?
I remember we were up by like 20, and then they came back and cut it to 2. I remember that. They're a very tough team. They're very explosive. They scored a basketball from all 5 spots on the floor, and they are very much a contrasting style in the way that we play. So they get up and down, they play fast, but they really want to run offense. So we got to find a way to combat that. But I can tell you right now, I'm not really worried about that right now. Let my team enjoy this moment. I want to enjoy this moment with with my family and, you know, our administration and our fans and our team and our friends and get on that when it's time to get on that.
Question in the second row, then we'll get you, John.
Coach, on Friday you gave the team a lesson on how to cut down the nets. How would you evaluate how they did, and I guess what was the reason behind you teaching them so early?
I think it's part of game prep. I mean, you know, you got to start 2 days out. We start prepping 2 days out, so we start prepping on how to cut the nets on Friday. We went through it again yesterday, and we went through it again this morning. So that I think everyone did a pretty good job, except for Corn. Corn struggled a little bit up there, so we got to give her another lesson. Hopefully, she can get another chance at it.
Down in front here.
John Adams, Knoxville News Sentinel. Coach, did such a big win Friday night over a great team. Did you have any concern that maybe your team might suffer a letdown after winning a game against a team as good as that, and in the manner you won it with the great comeback?
No, I didn't think we would have a letdown because our kids understood what the moment was, and we discussed it. You know, we discussed coming in this tournament and winning 6 games. We didn't talk about winning 2 or 3. I think that once we got to this moment, I knew that our kids would play hard, and obviously we knew we playing a very good team with a lot of talent, and we knew that we just had to play well and make some shots, and so I wasn't worried about a letdown physically, emotionally, and a lot of times you can't control whether the ball goes in the basket or not, but I knew that we would play hard.
Down in front.
Lindsey Kramer again, Syracuse. I just got to ask, what is there to cutting down nets, and did you actually cut down the net for real on Friday?
No, we had lessons with the scissors. I thank Gina Castelli at Siena College for my first lesson when we won the MAC, and we were struggling some. You really got to get down to the edge of the scissors, and you got to turn your wrist. You got to snip hard. You can't cut like this because it's not. I told them it's not the little high school nets. These are nice thick nets. You got to turn your wrist and really get into it. And I was trying to figure out Corn's left-handed. I was like, Corn, do you cut left hand or right hand? And she kind of didn't know, so I knew she was struggling. She struggled at the net cutting, but you know, we got it done. It's just an amazing time, and honestly, you know, sitting up here right now and having an opportunity, I'm a coach at such a great team, such a great university. You know, when you're a young coach, you're coming into this business and you got the job the way I got the job, and late into the summer, and I thank Dr. Gross and Nancy Cantor so much for giving me the opportunity to coach such a great university, because Darryl really believed in me and gave me an opportunity, and he always just said, just be extraordinary. And we did that, and obviously moving forward now with Mark Coyle, I knew AD and Chester Severud and Kim. I mean, we just have Floyd. We have such a great administration. I'm just very grateful and honored to have this behind me.
Down in front here.
John Adams, Knoxville News Sentinel. Coach, you talked about knowing a couple of their calls and going in. Is that commonplace to know what a defense is, what they're calling on defense, and did you pick up on that? Did that stem from playing Tennessee earlier, or was that just part of the scouting report?
A bit of both. You know, it is very, very common. Just like they will sit on some of our sets too. Some of the things we were calling, they were calling them out, and they were pre-switching stuff too. So it's very common. You know, we watch way too much tape. So we're gonna have some things. But it's really about at the end. You know, you can guard the action, but now you got to guard the player. So no matter whether we got the calls or not, we still had to take advantage of it, and we got some opportunities.
Over here on the right side.
How big of a boost does Brianna Butler give when she makes shots like she did tonight?
It's everything. It's everything. You know, we keep telling her she has to be aggressive. And every time she catches the ball clean and faces the basket, I think it's going in. And a lot of times, so does the opposing coach, because they're screaming to their players to get out there. So she's an instant floor spacer the way she plays, and she's a remarkable shooter. She's the best shooter in college basketball right now, and she proved it in this tournament. I mean, she had 2 big games.
We got time for a few more questions for Coach. Let's take one over here.
Corn was going to the basket real hard, and then picked up those 2 real quick fouls back to back. Any reason why you didn't take her out after the third?
Well, we had to continue to play our team. We had to continue to play our roster and get our regular rotations. I thought that Pete would wear down a little bit if we didn't keep subbing and get Pete out for a minute. So I just took a chance to get her in the game, and she came through. She played tough. She didn't commit another foul, and she was really, really big for us.
Other questions for Coach? Doesn't look that way, Coach. Thank you. Congratulations, and best of luck next week.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.